Hello, everybody. What's happening right now? I'm not going to bite. You don't want to sit in the front. I like this. Okay, we're letting people file in. Thank you so much for being here. I know traffic with the Padres game was not a lot of fun, so thank you for those who took public transportation and Ubered or carpooled or however else you got here. We appreciate it. First of all, how you doing? Yes. Okay, so welcome. Welcome to Together for Good. My name is John Valencia. I'm the president and CEO of Good Brothers Foundation, and we're hosting today, and not just us, but with a collaboration of over 150 different nonprofits who have signed up for today. So we know more will be showing up. We have a lot of fun stuff happening today. But most importantly, what I really want you all to walk away with is actually meeting someone new. I think the power of social capital, which we're going to talk about soon with our amazing keynote, is exactly that, right? We know the nonprofit world that we're all in is small. And we end up in different locations, in different jobs, in different roles, in different organizations, but we all end up seeing the same people everywhere we go, right? How do we then expand that reach? Not for necessarily, yes, for ourselves, but also for those that we serve. And that's what we're going to talk a lot about today. So we're really excited you're here, and thank you for dealing with this little delay we have just to make sure we have everyone in the room. So this is one slide, because we couldn't fit all of the logos on here, but a little logo soup. So if you see your name, your organization, scream, say hi, yes. We got a lot, right? Climb Higher, Ocean Connections, ENF is here, we've got lots. Another slide, because there's even more. Yep, another, yes, right? This is really cool because Good for Others was established here not to just duplicate efforts. And that was really important for me. My whole career has been in the nonprofit space. And the most frustrating thing, I think you all probably feel this too, is when there's another organization trying to do the same work. And we don't want to do that. And so we just really wanted to figure out how could we be supportive of all nonprofits. So this is our small but mighty team. So shout out to Sarah Carroll. Is she here? Lots to know her. Karen Connolly, Cameron Weaver, Danielle Lane, Liz Bourne, Samantha Herod, who's not on here because she never wants to be recognized. But we're really excited that you all are here. So Good for Others was able to get a $5 million contract from California Workforce Development Board 2 years ago. And what that was for was us to really do an assessment of what is happening in the nonprofit sector in San Diego. So we know that there's over 13,000 nonprofits here in San Diego. We have over 107,000 workers in our sector. And we also know that 40% of workers in San Diego are thinking of leaving San Diego in the next 3 to 5 years. That's a lot of humans in the nonprofit sector who really, that could be devastating for a lot of our organizations. So what do? So we got this money. Half of the money goes to a really cool training program we do. And the other half is to launch this stuff we're doing with you all. And we're really excited because the money is still available to be spent. So we really want to make sure that what we're doing is investing in you as workers to support the work you're doing. And that's basically what Good for Others does. So when we first started, we obviously wanted to make sure we were not just making a lot of assumptions about what's happening in our sector. So we did a lot of assessments, right? So we did this listening tour for about 18 months, and we said, what's going on? Tell us. And it was some surveys, it was a lot of conversations with CEOs and C-suite folks within the region, and the biggest thing we heard, San Diego nonprofits need workers with technical skills and soft skills. And not only just for their career trajectory, but for entry-level jobs and for mid-level careers. And we really want good workers, right? We want people to be able to stay. We want them to enjoy their careers and see the nonprofit sector as a place that you can establish a long-term career. So again, 40%, right? That's the number, 107,000 workers. And most importantly, the biggest concern we heard is that we need to attract and retain workers. especially if 40% of people in San Diego are thinking of leaving the region. That's a big deal for us. So with that, we also heard a bunch of other stuff. So we heard that the training piece is really important, whether it comes to the technical skills and the soft skills. So raise your hand if you know anything about talent pipeline management. Yay, there's a few. Okay. So talent pipeline management is a framework created by the US Chamber of Commerce. And they said, let's flip this upside down and figure out how to really solve the problem of employers. And what does the employers need? They need really good workers. My background is I've been in the nonprofit space my whole career. Took a stint where I was a vice chancellor at Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College as a vice chancellor of workforce development. And so I learned that there was an issue with nonprofits and workers. And so if you're gonna give someone a certificate or a degree, but they're not actually gonna get a job, that's not helpful for the worker, and it's not helpful for the nonprofit, right? So we take this idea with Good for Others of using talent pipeline management in everything we do. So we've done this with CyberHire San Diego, we've done this with all sorts of different programs, and so we knew that this worked. So we said, could we use talent pipeline management as the framework for the nonprofit sector? And it's working. So what we do is we have an amazing executive committee who is made up of a bunch of C-suite nonprofits, directors and C-suite folks who come and have helped us develop the curriculum that they would want, that has the technical skills and the soft skills that they would directly hire from. So now you don't necessarily need to go get a degree from USD, which I went to. No shout out, no harm there. But like, if you could actually learn the technical skills and the soft skills you need, then would you hire them? So then we brought them together and we created this amazing curriculum. And so we have, with Good for Others, 2 programs. We have our Nonprofit Future Leaders program, which I think there's some folks here. Yes, okay, I see some folks. And then we also, so that's for unemployed or underemployed individuals to get jobs in the nonprofit space. And then we have another one, which is for upskilling. So those who are currently working in the nonprofit space to upskill and move their career trajectory. And the best part about it is it's all for free. And if you're in our Future Nonprofit Leadership program, it's actually $2,300 will pay you to be in the program. We'll pay for your childcare, we'll pay for transportation, we pay for Wi-Fi, we give you a laptop, we give everything that you need so you don't have to work, and you can learn and really gain the skills so that you are truly employable for these nonprofits that need these workers. It's a really cool program. So we're really excited. Next month, we will have hit our 450 individual goal to train these amazing workers who are ready for work. Round of applause, that's exciting. So with this, we're also really exciting. So that's half the money is the training program. The other half is invested in all of you. And what this is, we heard also from our listening tour, is that professional development for current workers is really important. And times are tough. We see this with the funding from feds and everywhere else. So we are really happy to announce today that we are offering free, up to 200 hours per employee of a nonprofit, free professional training. Free! So we have an amazing relationship with the state. They love this program. They're seeing what we're doing. They gave us this money to see, could you do this? And now they're investing more and saying, okay, we love this. We really want to see more workers. And so now we're reaching out to you, which we're really excited about. What are the training programs you want to upskill your current employees? Literally, every employee you have can have 200 hours paid for free. So when it comes to curriculum, just again, what we do, we don't do this in a vacuum. We want to make sure that the programs that we offer are meeting the needs of those that you are serving, and those are your employees, right? And we want to make sure that we are providing those. So more to come for that, but we're really excited. Our new contract will launch probably in October. So we've been doing kind of a listening tour, finding out what kind of training you need. That could be leadership, that could be onboarding. We've heard a lot of need for folks who are entry level who need to work with targeted populations. How did they do that? And how did they do that well? So we're designing all of these really cool programs for you all to enjoy for free. Next, in 2026, we are launching the nonprofit Artificial Intelligence Institute, which is very exciting. So we're going next week. Yay! So we know AI is here, and hopefully you are all using it, right? The new stat is that 40% of the workforce that you are currently working right now should be AI. If it isn't, you're behind the curve. And so we need to figure out how to help our nonprofits who are focused on the really great programming that we all do, but figure out how to do that with AI in a safe way, in a helpful way that moves the needle for all of us. So more to come, but we're really excited. We'll be in San Francisco next week at the AI conference, building all of these really cool things. All right. So alone we can do so little, together we can do so much, right? That's perfect for why we're here. Together for good, right? That is exactly it. We are sometimes stuck in our, maybe it's a Zoom, maybe it's in an office, right? And sometimes you feel not necessarily felt some sort of sense of collaboration. And that's what we're trying to do today, is we'll break out into these peer circles and really be able to have you work with peers who are experiencing the same things that keep you up at night, who have maybe solved that, or if not, just a place to vent, because sometimes that's helpful too. Okay, we're also really excited that we're launching the first ever community-owned healthcare plan. All right, so what does that mean? So right now you probably offer healthcare within your organization, but it's probably very expensive. And we know that healthcare is going to increase next year 16%. How are we going to pay these costs? It's already very expensive. And is it even the programs or are we offering the programs that you want in your healthcare plans to your employees? Are they even meeting the needs of your employees? So right now we're really excited. We were gonna do a VEBA. Everybody knows what a VEBA is, a Volunteer Employee Beneficiary Association. We've pivoted. Community-owned healthcare plan is a lot easier and a lot more affordable for us. So we're gonna do this, and we're really excited about it. So if your organization would like to participate, the more organizations that do, the lower the cost goes, right? It's called bulk buying, right? So the more belly buttons, that they call it, or it's really funny, I say belly buttons a lot these days, or lives, right, that we can say that are part of these plans can drive down the cost. And so we're right now, which is really cool, why it says community owned, is we all own it. So every nonprofit that participates will have a seat on the board, and you get to decide exactly what happens. And what's cool is we know the broker world wants to murder us because we're blowing everything up. But you'll be able to say you're offering Kaiser and you have United Healthcare and whatever it is, you can still offer those programs. We'll have this extra one that you get to offer. And any employees who want to choose to go into it can. And hopefully over time, they're gonna see that this program is better, it's meeting their needs, and it's saving us a lot of money. Without having a broker, we save 30% off the top. 30%. Ah, yeah, I love that, thank you. So we're really excited. So again, this takes a long time to do, so we won't be launching this till 2027 because you're already probably planning for next year what you're gonna do for your benefits and when open enrollment happens and all that stuff. So again, we will talk about this later, but we're really excited and we want everyone to participate. And the cool thing about this is statewide. So there are 220,000 nonprofits in the state. So we're really excited to support all nonprofits to join this. A comparison is VEBA San Diego Schools, or Cal Schools VEBA. So if anyone works in a community college or a school district, they have a VEBA. We're doing the same thing. So we are just a community-owned health plan. So really excited about that. Okay, the other thing. So we also heard the big need that a lot of employers have is the need for retirement. You're not offering retirement packages. And so you're wondering why people are leaving your organization because they go to some other organization that can offer better wages, better compensation packages, right, which include healthcare and retirement. So now we're really excited. We have a multiple employer plan. And so if you are not, or you are, and you want to switch, cool. It's a 401(b) and a 401k, a 403(b). Both plans will allow you to be offering retirement. Even if you're not choosing to do a match, that's fine. You can still join our program and still offer that for your employees for free. And the coolest thing about this, the state, again, is doing all this really cool stuff. When you join a multiple employer plan like this, we only have to do one audit. Every organization, if you all had your own retirement plan, would have to have your own audit, which is about $15,000 a year. You join a multiple employer plan, we do the audit, Good for Others pays for it, and you don't have to have your audit. So we're already saving you $15,000 just by joining. Yay! Okay, so we also learned in our listening tour lots of things, right? The biggest need we heard was, where's a nonprofit directory for us? Like, what? Like, oh, I do this. Is there another organization does the same thing? We also heard there's no online event calendar for us, right? And you go and pick an event like today, and you find out there's 10 other events happening at the same time. That's frustrating for us. We also heard that there's not a free job board, right? You have to pay to post and do things. And we also heard that it would be a lot easier if you could just connect. So we're very excited to introduce to you all that we have the Nonprofit Hub. Thank you, State of California, for paying for all this. So it's really cool. So the app will officially launch in October. You can go to our website and see a sneak peek. But it's very cool because you'll see on here we have the nonprofit directory. So it lists all the nonprofits in San Diego. We're going to expand. So we're doing this as a pilot. We're going to take this to every other city and county so that this eventually will become a really big thing where if any nonprofit employee wants to go, you can go. For a donor, for you're looking for events, you're looking for volunteer opportunities, you're going to have one-stop place to be able to do it. So it's a website and an app if you want to download. But we're really excited about it. And this was, again, what we kept hearing over and over and over is like, how do we do this? And this is a fully functioning app right now. If you go to, oh, I guess it's not on here, but it's app.goodforothers.org. You can go and play with it right now. We're looking for some beta testers, which is really cool. But the other piece to it is not only just, oh, it's cool to have these features and you can see these things, but what will be really nice is we'll be able to share what are the compensations you're paying workers in our region. So if you're posting in our job board a social worker for $27 an hour, well, if someone else is paying $30 an hour and you're wondering why you're not getting good applicants, you're going to be able to see that. And so on the back end, as an organizational admin, you're going to have access to all this data. You're going to be able to see what the workers are getting paid, what CEOs are getting paid, right? We already know it already exists on a Form 990, but like, let's really be honest about how are we paying people, right? When you talk about why is someone leaving? When we talk about retention and attracting new workers, we want to be competitive. And so how do we do that? And how do we tell that to the funders who are asking money for? Why are you asking that much? Because in San Diego, this is how much it costs to get really good workers. So we're going to solve a lot of our problems with access to this, which is really cool. So coming October, and it will be in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store in October. So stay tuned. We're really excited about it. But if you are one of those tech guys like me who would love to play around, we'd love some users, you can go to app.goodforothers.org and play around with it right now. This is really cool. Okay. So again, just to recap, all of these services we provide from Good for Others are free to all of you. And we want you to be able to tell us how to spend dollars from the state to make your jobs easier so that you can serve the people you're serving the best. And so again, we have another quote here, right? Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. And that's exactly what Good for Others is, or Good Together for Good is, right? We wanted to bring you all together, and we're going to talk about that with social capital and why we're going to break out in groups. Last night, we hosted a really cool event, and there's some amazing humans in this room who were there. And we just brought people together. We're trying to bring you all together so you can talk and share and experience and share some of your experiences and your struggles so that we're not reinventing the wheel, right? I think in the nonprofit space for so long, we have been divided because of funding. But if we unite together and go after funding together, then we can get bigger chunks of money and be able to use those slices of the pie to still do our good work, right? Especially now, right now, funding's being cut. We have to be more creative and we have to work together. So with that, recap, Good for Others, we do free nonprofit training. So if you know anyone who wants to be in a program to get into the nonprofit space, let us know. We have the free professional development that we're going to be offering for all of your employees. We have the AI training and implementation. We've got the healthcare and retirement plans. We got this new app we're really excited about. And then moving into what we're doing today with the peer circles. So you're going to be able to break into groups soon, which is really exciting, with like-minded individuals in the roles of the work that you do. And that, I think, is also really huge of what we kept hearing in our listening sessions. And also, fun note, we also heard in the last couple weeks, they want a finance group. So Jonathan, thank you so much, wherever you are. We're gonna have a finance group. So a CFO or anyone who's in the finance team, let us know. We're bringing that group together. We're gonna have lunch, happy hour, whatever you want, we can pay for it. We just want you to start meeting. And the same with government relations. If there's another job in our space that we're like, this is kind of unique and fun, we wanna meet, let's do that. And then, of course, we're here to use this consortium, San Diego Nonprofit Consortium, we call it, to really leverage our opportunities for grant funding. So how often have you gone into a grant and it's due on 2 weeks, and it's like, you need MOUs from all your partners? All of us, over and over, right? Well, now, if you're just part of Good for Others and the nonprofit consortium, guess what? You're gonna already have an MOU with all partners, and you can say, yes, we are established, we've been doing this from X amount of time, and we're ready to go, right? Solves a lot of problems. Okay, so we've got this. I'm passing it on because they are yelling at me that I'm past time, and that's just what happens. But we're really, really, really excited. And most importantly, thank you for carving out time today to do this, because this isn't necessarily about any of the work we're all doing, but it's about those we serve, right? But how do we do that better? By helping ourselves be better. And we can do that by networking and using our social capital to do that. So thank you so much. And with that, I have someone really cool to invite over. So give a big round of applause for Sorby Grant. She is the president and CEO of Climb Higher.
Hi, everybody. Oh, that's how we do it in San Diego. You guys, I flew from New Orleans, and I've been in California for 10 days. This is gonna be my favorite day. Hi, Matthew. Hi, everybody. Oh, yes. Excited doesn't really articulate how I feel right now. I remember, I think Karen sent me a text, and then John followed up with a call. And they did they asked some of my staff, do you think Sorby would do this? Like, would she talk about social capital? And I was like, of course. And then I got on a Zoom, or maybe it was a Google Meet. We are a nonprofit. And I was talking to Danielle and John and hearing the vision of what today is. And I said, I don't see that many young folks. So I say what the young folks say less. I'm there. What time? What's the attire? Do you know a makeup person? Like, I did text them this. Because this is my tribe. We think about the forgotten. We think about the things and the people that systems have forgotten. Don't worry, it's not gonna get dark or anything like that. But I've been in the nonprofit sector for 15 plus years. I'm gonna leave it at 15 plus. And I just love it. It gives me energy. It gives me hope. Sometimes it makes me cry. Sometimes it makes me scream. But the energy that I felt in this room, and I could hear from the hallway, I was like, this is the space, and these are the spaces that even though I am tired, I've been just going and talking, and I'm an outgoing introvert, and I don't necessarily get fueled by that, but I get fueled by this. I started my work as a program people, where we at? Yes, and now I'm a CEO, so I don't even know what I do. Everyone tells me to do something, and I'm like, I'm sorry. And I'm asking a lot of my team, but I'm just so appreciative of this space, and I'm so appreciative of the Good for Others, what a good name, the Good for Others team for all the work that they've been able to do to bring this together. I'm a little jealous, because when I started out in the nonprofit world, there was none of this. We had to do it ourselves. There wasn't an app to potentially connect us. There wasn't somebody who was thinking about how can we all go together for funding, it was like, no, get out of the way. You know that funder, I'm not talking to you. You're gonna work with that group of young people? Okay, well, I don't know about that. We're not gonna have that communication. Any Neo fans out here? Neo? Do we know what I'm about to say? You do. Yeah, you do. I see it. Come on. I won't let you sing it. Just say it. Okay. I'm forced by my. I'm a force by myself, but I'm a movement together. You make me better. Okay, no. All right. So my name's Sorby. I'm the president and CEO of Climb Higher, and I have the privilege of, on a regular basis, thinking and talking about social capital and the impact that it can have on people's lives. Now, usually when I'm talking about social capital, I'm talking about social capital's impact on employment. The number one, not the number one differentiator, the number one predictor of someone going from lower SES to high SES is actually a connection with someone outside of their economic status, social capital. We're not gonna talk about that today, but I obsess over this, about the fact that if you can make a relationship with somebody who you don't know, that could be the number one predictor to get you out of poverty. Coupled with all of the services and the technical trainings that we do, that is what can help us. Social capital is powerful. I mean, I was joking around the other day, or this morning, or always, of the stickers I could make. Social capital is the differentiator. Social capital can fix it. Social capital is queen, not king. These are all also newsletter signs that I've given. But social capital is just like the most powerful thing, and I'm so excited to talk about the impact it can have on your work and in the nonprofit sector. So often I think about the tipping points and the moments in my life, in my nonprofit career, where a relationship, because that's really what social capital is, or a connection actually pivoted me or took me into a place that I didn't even know we could go. One of those situations got me on this stage right here. I texted on our 1-year anniversary, those 3 lovely people back there. I'm new to the workforce space. I've spent 15 plus years in education. I've been a K-12, I've been a 4th grade ESL teacher. I've been a principal. I worked in an organization called Citizen Schools, which is an expanded learning time program. I've worked at a therapeutic day program for kids with exceptionalities, all of these in and outside of the nonprofit space, but they were always in education. And then I had to go to my first workforce conference by myself. And my team was like, Sorry, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna go to happy hour and be really awkward. And one of my team members was like, I got you. She used to work at the San Diego Workforce Partnership. And she introduced me to Karen and John and Danielle. And we went for a drink. We ate some fries and some flatbread. I talked about social capital and the impact. They talked about good for others. And a relationship started. A connection started. We talked about nail polish. We talked about boutique stores. We shared about our lives and where we'd been. More synergy started. Then a grant came around. Hey, do you think this is something that you guys might want to collaborate on? Then another grant came around, and then another grant came around. And those are the things that get us pivoting and thinking, oh, wow, something could be here. Then I came back to San Diego, and I was like, hey, I'm coming to San Diego for a few days. You want to hang out? Like, oh, of course. I went to a really fun place called the Reading Room. Felt real special. And more conversations and more relationships started to get built. And now I have a deep connection with Good for Others. And on that same trip, I started meeting with 1 or 2 other people. And they were like, oh, you know John? I know John. Guess what that gives me? Credibility. Okay, so she's good people. Oh, yeah, you know Karen. I'm just dropping people's names. Yeah, I'm gonna meet with Karen and John later. And like, oh, okay, yeah, let's talk. And it's actually those things. And now Climb Higher considers San Diego one of our main locations because of those conversations. We always had alumni. One alumni in the audience who now works at a nonprofit doing workforce development. Sorry, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but. And now we're like, okay, we're committed. Why? Because of those relationships. So when I think about the tipping points, and that's just one story of many in my professional career in the nonprofit space, connection and relationships are always at the root. So I'm new to the CEO thing, and it's way different than program, let me tell you. Program has a lot more fun. I have a lot of conversations. Program actually has impacts. But one of the things that I didn't do when I first started as a CEO is I didn't go into my backpack of relationships. I was like, I've done 15 years of education, K-12. There's nothing that any of my connections can actually do for me in workforce. And it's embarrassing to think that I said that. Standing in front of you talking about the importance of social capital, running an organization thinking about the importance of social capital. But one of the things that often happens is we're too hard on ourselves. And I think, oh, I do know some CEOs, but they're for K-12 organizations, and I haven't talked to them since I was in New York, maybe 10 years ago. They're not gonna remember me. I shouldn't reach out. But I did after 6 months, dum-dum. And then all of a sudden it was catalytic. They didn't introduce me to other schools because that wasn't gonna help me. They started introducing me to power players that they knew in the regions we wanted to grow in. They're like, yeah, I'll do a soft intro or warm intro, and then you'll take it from there. And maybe that person isn't gonna help me, but then that other person will help me, and that other person will help me. And let me tell you, sometimes I emailed somebody and they didn't get back to me. And sometimes I took that personally, like, oh, guess I didn't do a good job. Other times I was like, well, forget them. But the one thing that I often think about is how helpful it would have been if I had kept that relationship warm. And how easy it would have been for me to keep that connection warm. So I want you to think of a minute, because I see a lot of people, take a moment, sorry. I see a lot of people nodding. Who's that for you? Who's that person that, oh, they probably could help me with that thing, but I haven't talked to them in a really long time. And I'm too shy, too nervous, too in my feelings, in my head about reaching out to them. So just like either take a mental note, or if you need to write them down, if you have more than one person, just go ahead. We're gonna come back to this person. But I just want you to be with me, because I know I'm not the only one. I talk to a lot of people all the time, and I know I'm not the only one. So think about those one or two people. Thumbs up if you got it, K-12 teacher, sorry. Or eyebrows or something, just let me know. And then if you weren't listening, person next to you, just do a thumbs up. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is someone who's sitting in next to you or behind you. If you know the person sitting next to you, don't do it to this person. Introduce yourself and tell them what you do and what you were hoping to get out of today. You got about a minute, go ahead. Do you guys know one another? Cheating. All right, Tony, Veronica, and Trevor. I'm Sorby. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. What were you guys hoping to get out of today? That's always the best. What about you, Veronica? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right, right, let's come back together. I should have said how I was going to get everybody back together. I've been out of the classroom too long. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. That's why I gave the classroom warning. I don't think you're children. I just know what's effective. I got a few like, remember that clap. So I introduced myself to our 3 lovely folks up here. And one of the main reasons why a lot of you are here is to either build or reconnect on our relationships or potentially lapsed relationships. So I just encourage you as you go to your peer groups or as you go into the happy hour, the mixer, you know, say hello to the person you know, and then go find someone else that you don't know. Or someone that you met 10 years ago and you don't really remember their name. Just bite the bullet. Hi, I'm so-and-so, and rekindle that relationship. Because something that I think nonprofit sector is really effective at is building these deep bonds and connections with the people that they're working with. How many people, either at your current nonprofit or at a past nonprofit that you've worked with, you feel as though the people that you're working with are like family or so connected to you and they know you like you know the back of your hand? Like, I don't want to be, like, I'm not going to say, oh, I'll take a bullet for them, but like you are like, so you're like, or I'll give you my kidney. Like, you know, like I know your kids, maybe they're your godchildren, and in a heartbeat, you would do something for them. And those relationships are fantastic, and those are the things that help our sector function and help us get up the next day. But those are not the best relationships or the most impactful when it comes to social capital. It is a weird thing. Most people think what that is, bonding capital, is the thing that keeps social capital moving. But it is actually bridging capital when you don't have a close relationship with somebody. Because our relationships, so if you know somebody really well, you invite them to the barbecue, they know your auntie, your uncle, and all your problems, and everything about you. But the people that you don't know really well, that you only see occasionally, you see at the conference, you see at the mixer, they know people that you don't know. And that's where the power can actually happen. That's where the webbing happens. Not all connections are created equal or the same. And so that's why it's really important to consistently create new relationships. All the development people are like, okay, when are you gonna tell me something new? Like, there's a line in my strategy that says build new relationships. Like, I know this. But sometimes we forget. And what's the keynote for? Just to remind you of the thing? No, I'm just playing. But I just want to encourage you to make sure that you nourish those weak ties. That's another way of calling it. And to build and foster some of those new weak ties. You don't have to give people your like phone number, your secret TikTok. You can just give them your LinkedIn. So social capital has the opportunity to unlock a lot of things, whether it's bridging or bonding capital. And I never like to assume that everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about social capital. So I'm gonna look at the actual definition that's done by Robert Putnam. And he's an author who wrote a book called Bowling Alone. I read it in college, and now I talk about it all the time. I feel very special. I feel like all those student loans are worth it. But social capital are the value and the resources we access through our relationships. And through those relationships, it unlocks information. You know, oh, a grant's about to come out. Or this is how many grants have come out. Can you tell what's on my mind? Development stuff. And that type of information you get from the text messages and the friends and the people that you know. Or it opens up opportunities. All of our HR people and hiring managers are like, yeah, how do I fill those roles? It's from the people that I talk to. This is the number, like when I go to a bar, people are like, oh yeah, I got this job because I didn't know somebody. You know, this is the one that people resonate with the most, is the way that social capital can help with employment. But it opens up opportunities that you may not have been open to because of those relationships that you have. And then the thing that I thrive off of is the support. It's the encouragement that you got this, the things that's the bonding capital. Yesterday I was at the event that John was talking about, and I had the opportunity to meet like 12 people that I never have met before. And by the end of dinner, that was supposed to be 2 hours, ended up being 4 hours. I felt like I was so connected and emotionally supported by these individuals. because we talked about things that mattered to us and what we wanted for the world, and I'm so excited to shape that world together. And that's the type of support that social capital can do that we need as humans and in our society. And the research is clear that like relationships and connection make things better. It changes everything. We are living in a loneliness epidemic, and connection, may it be for employment, may it be for just general relationships and feeling, are the things that are going to help us get through this, not only as a sector, as a society, as a world. And I'm a Star Trek nerd, I'm about to say the universe. Like, it's gonna happen. And all we have is one another, but we really do. It is in these relationships that higher trust is developed, and the moments that we think we can't, it's because of one another that we are able to. And it's the moments that sometimes I feel most alone or stressed out that I actually do not go to the people around me. I'm like, I got this, I'm an only child Sagittarius, I can do it. I do not need anybody, and boy, do I. It's those moments when I'm so stubborn and I'm like, wait, let me just think of my phone and who do I know? Who could I text and say, do you know how to fill out this form that I just learned about yesterday? And usually someone's like, oh yes, I know somebody who can do it. But we often forget in those moments of high stress. This is one of my favorite slides that I already said the talking point, so I'm just gonna skip it over. Not all connections are the same. Our weak ties are the ones that are most powerful. Now, the thing that makes me most worried about 2025, I shouldn't say most, I worry about a lot of things in 2025. But something that really, really, really distresses me in this topic of social capital is the impact that AI is having on connections and relationships. And, you know, when I started off as a 4th grade teacher in the South Bronx, anytime I didn't know how to do something for my kids or with my kids, I did 2 things. I went down the hall and I asked Miss O'Shaughnessy, who was a veteran teacher, who I don't know how she had the time or the ability, but she taught a wolf unit every single year and got the best results of the entire school building. And I was like, this woman can do anything. Because not many kids in the South Bronx get to learn about wolves, but if you were in Miss O'Shaughnessy's class, you can. And so I needed to learn from her. Or I would text a fellow first-year teacher and say, yo, what do you do when there's a fight in the middle of your class? Or what do you do when a kid is telling you that you need to use the bathroom and you ran out of bathroom passes? Like, I just didn't know how to do any of those things. Then, when I was a first-year principal and I got stuck, sometimes I would go to the veteran principals. Sometimes I would text my, walk down next door, text and be like, the next door neighbor principal and be like, hey, this is what happened. I don't know, today I got yelled at by a parent. And it was really bad. And I think it was my fault. I think it was like collectively the school's fault. Like, can you walk me through this? Like, I literally just put that policy in place and I have those parents coming to me and saying it's a problem. And if I was too embarrassed to do that, I used Google. And I would Google. But now, what do? I use ChatGPT. And I feel really smart because I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't have to ask anybody. I knew all the answers. And sometimes I ask the question in a way, because AI has that sycophancy thing, that it makes me feel like I knew the answer anyways. And it feeds that human need for I am right. And then I don't ask my fellow CEO. I don't reach out to my connection. Because it's faster, more convenient, more efficient. I've got this, I can do it at 2 a.m., I can do it at all these different times. And in order to do that, I am then making my ties even weaker. So I sign up to go to an event, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not actually gonna learn anything at that Together for Good. It's okay, because I got my ChatGPT, I got my Claude, I got Perplexity, and I know all those people anyways, so I don't need to go. And then I don't go. And I don't rekindle or reconnect and get those new relationships. So that's one of those things that like makes me real anxious and nervous, is because we are no longer connecting in the way that we used to. We are solopreneuring everything. And it's a real, real risk. And so I would say thank you for being here, not just because I don't want to just talk to empty seats. I will. But because this is going to help make your mission and your work stronger, because you are maintaining that connection and that relationship, and you're also filling your cup of hope so that you can continue to be resilient. And in those moments when you're not resilient, you're able to reach out to somebody and know. But all is not lost. And I tell this to my climbers all the time. That's what we call our participants. When they're like, well, I'm not going to reach out to the volunteer I met 6 months ago because of every single one of these reasons that are on the slide. Now go back and think to that person who I asked you to think about. One of these reasons there? The one that there's two that stop me on a regular basis. No, maybe three. Three that stop me on a regular basis. One, they'll think I'm stupid. And God knows I don't want to be considered stupid. I don't know the answer. And it still bugs me. And I'm like, you're this old, you're this accomplished, and you're still worried that someone's going to think you don't know the answer? Like, you don't know everything, Sorby. But you can talk yourself into a lot of stuff, and whew, that's a cycle. I'm supposed to know this. I'm president and CEO. I talk about social capital. No. So that's one. The other one is the moment that I connected with them was too insignificant. And they're not going to remember me. Seen a lot of nods. And sometimes I even say the dreaded, hey, hope all is well, hope the weather is doing well, or I've changed hope all is well, hope you're thriving, because it's different, right? Then you know ChatGPT didn't help me write it. Hope you're thriving. And I don't know if you remember me, and then ... And usually, if I get a response, I usually get a response. Usually the person says, of course I remember you. And it's not because I'm super special and rememberable. It's because that connection probably wasn't as insignificant as as you thought. You're giving yourself an excuse to not reach out. And then the last one is very connected to the first one. They're going to think I'm using them. Guess what? Humans want to be used. Yesterday, someone gave me a reminder about generosity. And they said, it may be hard for you to accept generosity. But when you don't accept someone's generosity, you're preventing their purpose. And so you're thinking they don't want to help. They're just going to think I'm using them. And there are some people like that. And shoot, I've said that sometimes. They're just using me. But we also really want to help one another. I talk to job seekers all the time, and I'm like, go reach out to somebody and ask them for advice. That's the best way to get a referral. Don't ask them for a referral. Ask them for advice. And if you don't agree with it, don't tell them. But just ask them for advice. Everybody loves to give advice because it's about your ability to share your experience. And so whenever you think, oh, that relationship wasn't significant enough, it was. Or, oh, they're going to think I'm using them. They might. But push through. Push through the awkward because it's so important. And connecting helps you move forward and get what you want. And it also unlocks the impact of your organization. So you don't have to listen to me. I'm not from San Diego. So I don't know what's going on over here. But you are going to listen to 3 people who are from your community, who have had made impact because of the connections that they've made. And so I'm going to invite to share 3 stories from the room, and maybe 2 minutes each. Okay, don't be doing like a 10-minute TED Talk. All right, your picture's not on the brochure; it's on the slide. Okay. But I'd love for you. It's a comedy show now. I feel good. I think they like it. They liked me, Mom. But I'd love, Gina, if you could stand up and share. You've got a mic right there, and just face the audience and share your connection story and relationship story.
Okay. Hi. So great to be here with you all. So at Partnership for a Better San Diego, which is the nonprofit affiliate organization of the San Diego and Imperial Counties Labor Council, one of the things that we do is we offer a 3-week paid training program for underserved populations who are interested in going into hospitality. 1 week of training takes place in a classroom context at San Diego College of Continuing Ed, and then the 2nd and 3rd weeks of training take place at one of our employer partners. They're all unionized employers. And so we had a cohort in January of 2024. And for those of you who are in San Diego, I don't know if you recall the weather in that time frame, but we had torrential rains. Like, we don't have those.
Oh, you don't have rain. See, that's why I
don't
didn't
have
do the
rain,
story.
let alone torrential rains. Why that's relevant is I'm so sorry. We had a cohort in March, and we get referrals from all, various community partners, self-referrals, and we had closed our cohort. We can only accommodate up to 20 people, and my boss, who is the president of Labor Council, she's the type of person where the elected officials call her for favors. And so the mayor of San Diego, Todd Gloria, had toured the storm-ravaged communities as a result of the January torrential rains, and met this woman who came to San Diego, or sought asylum in San Diego from Haiti. And she had resettled here several years prior. The rains, as soon as she had established herself and her family, the rains took out her home. And when the mayor toured the area, he specifically spoke to her and said, "Is there anything that we can do to help you?" And she said, "I just need a job. I just need to feed my kids." And so he called my boss, and my boss said, "We need to get this person a job." I was like, "Okay, no problem." And so we had closed our cohort, but it happened to be the week before we were starting. And so we just basically put her in. Somebody dropped, so it actually worked out really well. And then it was a matter of, oh shoot, she probably wouldn't have been a candidate that we would have screened and accepted into our program on our own. But we let her in. And then the next hurdle was, like, which employer partner will agree to place her, because our training is not just on the job. There is a job at the end of it if they do well during those 2 weeks. And so we called in a favor for one of our employer partners, and I said, "This person probably doesn't have the qualifications that you're looking for, but she has a lot of grit. She asked for help. I would love it if we could, at least give her a chance." After some thought, he agreed. And after the first week of on-the-job training, it was not looking so good for her. She did not know how to use a vacuum cleaner. And so there were some concerns that she wasn't going to make it. And so we chalked it up to, like, well, this was at least a good opportunity. By week 2, she was killing it. Yes. She killed it. And the fact that she was referred by the mayor has really nothing to do with the story, except for that's how she got to us. On her own merit, she got that job. They loved her, and they made her an offer as soon as she finished her second week of on-the-job training. And so that was a very winding way to say that now she has resettled in National City. She's still at that hotel. She is thriving. We talked to her recently because we featured her in a success story, and just somebody that I have so much admiration for. So that is my example of social capital.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Social capital at its finest.
There's layered social capital in there. I love nested social capital. I heard that, yep. Giovanni.
Hi, everybody. I am Giovanni Perez. I'm the Corporate Giving Officer at the Salk Institute. Thank you. So I wanted to start off this 2-minute conversation with how social capital for me started. So I spent most of my adult life living in Sacramento, and my first job out of college was financial sales. and I was hired by a firm that said, hey, you're Hispanic, want to enter the Hispanic market, we want you to get involved in the community. So right there, I started to learn about really the value of relationship building. And through me going to a meeting for the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce ambassador meetings, a gentleman, Edgar Calderon, came up to me and said, do you want to volunteer with us? If you do, come back at 6 p.m. And I said, well, I have nothing to do at 6 p.m., so I'll come back. And so I did, and so he got me to volunteer with this organization. Through volunteering and really getting involved with something that was near and dear to my heart, I ended up getting a job. I got a job at the American Red Cross, and that was my first development job. And
Did you apply for that job?
I did not. I got recruited. And, you know, talking about what you mentioned earlier about how relationships really help people move through the socioeconomic ladder, I think, you know, that was something that I was a prime example of that, right? Like I was a inner city kid who grew up with immigrant parents, grew up in poverty, never thought I would go into this type of career, but really that kind of solidified like, hey, someone saw value in me and was able to refer me to get a job. Fast forward to working in development, realized that it's a very small community of people wherever you are. I moved from Sacramento to San Diego 3 years ago, and I learned very quickly, as I had in Sacramento, that it's about who you know and how you get involved. And so I started working at San Diego State University as a development officer there for the College of Health and Human Services. Through mutual connections with friends, I actually ended up meeting John, who then we found out like, hey, like he's very connected with a lot of the folks that like I'm trying to get connected to and work with. So in one of those feelings of like, should I reach out to this person? I met him like in a social setting, but like this is going to be like, you know, like a business type setting. Like, should I ask him? And I did. I messaged you and I said like, hey, you know, I'd like to like talk to you and buy you coffee and, you know, get to know who you know and through connections. We built some very strong foundational programs through the nursing, got a very good grant through Karen and San Diego Workforce Partnership for our nursing department. So really, I think, you know, when John asked me if I would like say a few words about like social capital, I was like, oh my God, like I think I know what I want to say. And it's really like true. And I think a lot of us don't realize the power of who you know. In any type of setting, whether it be you're trying to find a job, whether it's like business, transactional, you need a referral to something. A lot of the times it's just a matter of like reaching out and overcoming the fears, like you said, of, you know, what if they don't want to talk to me? What if this and that? You know, we have a saying in Spanish that's very similar in English. Voces calladas no comen, like, you know, a quiet mouth doesn't get fed. And so I would highly encourage everyone for whatever it is to just send those emails. You know, I send like 3 or 4 emails and I'm sure people ignore them, but every now and then I get one who says, yes, I got your email and I'd like to meet or I'd like to give back or whatever the purpose of that was. So social capital, very valuable. Use it. Yeah.
Thanks, Jonathan.
All right. So I'm going to share a story, and we got a clock right there. That's really helpful for me. I'm going to share a story about the bridging the private and public partnership. I am a social worker by profession. I started off as a case manager. I am trained around building strong relationships with the people that you serve, and that's the most impactful tool in creating change. Years ago, I was approached by a business improvement district that said, hey, our community is having a lot of challenges. We need some help for the services that your organization has to offer. I said to them, I said, I really want to help you, but I don't have any resources to leverage. Maybe you can come back when we figure out our way to fund the services. 6 months later, a philanthropic partner approaches me in a totally different part of San Diego and says, hey, I have this need to provide a service to our community, and I don't have any way of doing it, but like I can offer this amount of money. So I go back, I said, I can't really do a lot with that money, but I know of a business improvement district that is looking to address the same challenge that you're going through. So I said, you don't know them, but let me introduce you. So I did some matchmaking, and the foundation met the business improvement district, first time they were meeting, a lot of synergy between them, and they said, let's develop a partnership and try this new program. The program was, it was gonna be a challenge though, because they approached me because there was an existing provider in that community that wasn't showing the outcomes and impact that they were hoping for. So the first thing I had to do with them is say, we gotta do some expectation setting. We need to make sure that you all know that this isn't a magic wand solution. And so we need to make sure that we do some education around what to expect. So we did that, and then afterwards we said, okay, if this program is successful, we need to talk about how we're going to market it, how we're going to share it out. During that time, there was a lot of question around how service providers market themselves, because oftentimes you say, yeah, we're awesome, we do a good job, right? But if that doesn't match with what the community's expecting, then you lose trust. So we agreed that they would be, as a business improvement district and the foundation, that they would be the face of the pilot. In a 6-month period, it just so happened that San Diego had an effort led by a city council member during that time to do a big outreach effort in a very specific community. They, in a 6-month period, our program, who was one person, and it was a program that was focused on relationships, outperformed an entire effort in a 6-month period because we proved that relationships make impact. So after that period, after 6 months, it was a 1-year pilot. The funders decided we're going to push this program to our public funders because they need to know about it and they need to hear about it. They started with the city, then they started with the county, and today this program is the standard for the way that the city and the county provides outreach services to folks who are experiencing homelessness.
Thank you, Gina, Giovanni, and Jonathan. I think it's just so important to hear the impact that connections and relationships can have, regardless of the department or organization that you're in. So I'm so appreciative of your stories, and I'm an educator at heart. So in your little bags, there's a handout, a graphic organizer. We're not gonna go through this, but oftentimes I think, like when I work with people around how to, we're not gonna do the activity, we're just gonna go through it, but I work with people around how to reactivate and reconnect with their network. Because COVID really screwed us up, that's the understatement of the world. And we're also going through, AI, but then we're also going through this like self-care, like let's just do what we need and like let's just make sure that like I'm good, which is important. But we've lost touch with a lot of people who were in our orbit and important to us or had deep connection to. And this is an opportunity for you to reach out to those people because you need that bonding capital. And then also those people that may have been 1 degree out, because we need that bridging capital. And the way that I like to start of it is like think about like what's a challenge that you're having? So that's step 1 on this handout. What's a challenge that you're having, or a goal that you're wanting to accomplish, or something that you're just feeling stuck and uneasy? And then you think about people who may be able to help you from your past. And they're probing questions on the handout that you can use. And even if you just read the handout, when you're like at the gym or about to go to sleep, I bet you those questions are gonna like creep into your little brain. Hopefully you don't dream about it, but if you do, go me. And there's some ideas if you get stuck. And then on page 2, it's little tips for how to reconnect. What are easy ways for you to reconnect or stay connected? One of my favorite ways is if I see an article or, depending on the relationship, an Instagram that makes me think of somebody. So I left home on the 1st, said goodbye to the fur babies and the partner, and I was like, see y'all on the 12th. And I've met a lot of people this past week. And I believe in connection, and also my job is connection, in both like social capital realm, but also as a CEO. And so as I have traveled on planes, people that I've met, and we had those somewhat insignificant conversations, and an article reminds me of them, I actually send it to them. And that puts a deposit in that. Not only because I enjoy doing it, like, oh, I read this article about AI in classrooms. Here you go. Or, oh, this one woman was like, I really want to meet a bear. And I was like, do you really want to meet a bear? I know. I was like, really? And then there was, on Instagram, the bear videos, the bear is in your side of your house. I sent that to her and I was like, you sure you want this? And it's those little things that keep that connection happening. Another thing I do is after an event, I journal. And I'm like, Sorby likes this, John likes this. And it's not me, and I never really go back to it, but it reminds me important things that I know about them. And if I do need to email them, maybe I do go back to it. And I'm like, hey, I hope your new puppy, someone I just met had a new puppy or a new kitten, is doing well. I'd love to get coffee. And it just keeps that alive. And you figure out what your habit is. But these little things, people feel really special. And it also is a helpful way to reach out even if you haven't talked to somebody in a really long time. And then the last page of this is for building new connections. Because inevitably, I always get somebody who's like, I don't know anybody. I'm like, okay, fine. Start building new ones. And like I said, COVID messed us up. And so we haven't gone to that many in-person happy hours. And some people might be like, I'm just going to leave right there. I know I said I came for networking. I got enough networking. We did the peer circle. I'm good. Please stay. And please read this, because it's tips for how to do that in a way that's authentic to you. Life is hard. We shouldn't do this alone. And I want to eliminate as many barriers it is for why, and what are those thought bubbles as to why we shouldn't connect with one another or why you can't do that connection. So that's what this handout is. And you can just put it right back into your little good baggie. Is it called a good baggie? What is it? Goodie bag. What's wrong with you, Sorby? I was like, good baggie doesn't sound, goodie bag, thank you. And thanks for no one for like being like, what's she just saying? And it was like, no, just flow with it. It's really about just one quick conversation, because like I said, it's the funny thing in the line to the bathroom that's talking about bears that person now next week, when I go and email them, it won't feel that awkward. And I just want to encourage you to have that conversation, because it's in those little quick moments that you may get the job, you may get the grant, you may get the partnership, and it's so important for our work. There was a book that was written that's like a finance book that's your network is your net worth. I did not say that, so don't attribute it to me, but I think a lot about that a lot when I talk to people. But I also think about social movements. And social movements and social justice starts because someone is angry or thinks there's something wrong, and they tell somebody else, and they can do that together. And so it's that conversation, and it's your network that can actually have that impact. And if you do nothing else, reconnect to an old friend and meet someone new today. And hopefully you get to meet me at happy hour later. But if not, let's stay connected. And that's my LinkedIn, and that's my email. And I'm really excited for the rest of your day of going into your peer circles and reconnecting or connecting with people who are in your city doing the work you do, and you can just go so much farther together, okay? I take off my keynote hat, and I am now your MC. I am really excited to introduce your first peer leader, Julia, to come on up and share.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. Hi, everyone. So nice to see you all, even though there's a big, bright light in my face and I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm so glad to be here. I am Julia Barnes, she, her, hers. I am the Director of Development at the New Children's Museum, right down here. If you have kiddos, you've probably been there. But I look forward to seeing you all today at our development roundtable. I got involved in this actually when I was listening to Giovanni talk. I was like, oh, this sounds very familiar. John actually, his his ex-partner hired me right out of grad school when I was in programs. I'm sure that a lot of our fundraisers here did not get right into fundraising. They stumbled upon it, and I stumbled upon it through programs. And I loved working a mission. And when I met John, there was a special spark between us, I feel, for multiple reasons, but that was probably about 15 years ago. And when I had a few other jobs in development, and I got to the new Children's Museum, I was so excited not only to run a development department, but really put my practice, into play. And when I posted about it on LinkedIn, John messaged me and was like, "Oh, hey girl, let's go get coffee. I miss you and we need to talk." And I was like, "Well, about what?" "You're running a foundation, so do you have money for me or what's going on?" But it was wonderful to chat with him and reconnect. And a lot of what Sorby has said tonight about those connections that you've had, maybe longstanding, maybe they're new, was really fruitful. And we talked about Good for Others. We talked about what his thoughts are on nonprofit and how we work together, especially in fundraising. And I was hooked. I was so excited. And when he asked me to lead this peer group, I said, absolutely. There's one thing I love about fundraising, and it's people. I love people. I love relationships. I chair a board of a queer nonprofit networking organization. And so when I also get to do fundraising and talk to you lovely fundraisers, that just makes my day. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to host y'all here in this room. So if you're a fundraiser, you're going to be staying here. I also just want to share, some of you did do our survey. I'm sure our other lovely panelists are going to talk about it, but I did just want to share a few things. Mostly that one of the big things that we talk about in fundraising is wearing multiple hats. A lot of the fundraisers at small organizations have to do it all. I know we have a wonderful networking and marketing cohort today, and when we were talking a little bit about it, a lot of our fundraisers have to do it all. And so I'm really excited today as you take a look at some of these valued perspectives and where we need some of the help staff time, that 21%. That's a lot of what we're talking about, is that we need help. And I think that the best way that we can do that is not only collaborating with each other, but also collaborating in our team. So I'm excited to talk to the fundraisers later this afternoon. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you right here after we finish.
I'm not going to go back up. No. All right, okay. And up next is Darlene.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. You know, much like the other cohort leaders, I've known John for a really long time, and there was just kind of this magic between us, like she just said. I knew him when he was at Grossmont College, and then he went on to lead a nonprofit. And I thought, I really need to get him in here to Goodwill and get him to talk to our CEO. We absolutely need to be working together. And so, of course, that's a great example of social capital. And I'm seeing that John has built a big network of social capital for himself, which is, I think, really amazing, and a great example for all of us to follow, because you really don't know when you're going to need somebody. At Goodwill, we have a whole membership, 156 members. We have an umbrella corporation that has a big, robust marketing team. So I have people that I can reach out to at any time for help on any subject. I also lead a fairly large team compared to most other marketing professionals in the nonprofit space. So we do a lot in-house and we get a lot done. It's very exciting. I know that I'm a networker. So when I first heard about this opportunity through John, I thought, well, what a great opportunity for me to network and get to know other marketers in my community a little bit more. I thought, even though I have this robust team that I can reach out to out of DC, I know because of my past experience, I was the marketing director for San Diego Junior Theater, where I was one person responsible for every area of marketing. And what it would have meant to me then to have a peer group that I could reach out to for support, for insight, for information, or just even collaboration. And so I thought that's really what I want to build here, is a network of marketers that become close and can call each other for support, can collaborate, can build things together, can work together, and rely on one another. Marketing is very fast-paced. Things are constantly evolving and changing rapidly, and it would be great to gain insights and information on trends and tools from one another. So that's really going to be the focus of this group. I'm super excited to have the opportunity to work with the other marketers in the community. And I want to share also some insights from the survey that we did. Okay, fantastic. And there it is. So it wasn't very surprising that people said that they just felt that they didn't have enough time, that they really wanted support with digital campaigns, and really kind of just some of those things that I already talked about. Being able to lean into one another to get a roadmap to, a brand resources guide. Oh, you already have one, great. You can share that with me and then I can adapt it to our brand. Or you have a relationship with somebody over at Fox. Can you connect me? I have a story I want to tell, and I know that if you connect me, they're going to return my call, and maybe I'm going to get an interview. So all of those things, I think as a larger brand here in town, I think it is part and parcel. Some responsibility is there to help the other nonprofits that might be smaller and that maybe don't have as large of a team. So I hope to see a lot of you in room 211 for our breakout session. I have Kayla Yap from San Diego Tourism Authority joining me, and we have some great insights to share on storytelling tips and tricks. Join us.
And for our HR peer group, April Hill.
Hello, everyone. My name is April Hill. I am the Vice President of People and Culture for the Downtown San Diego Partnership. I'm super excited to be a part of this peer circle group. One, because it is so critical right now. I always say the HR professionals are the unseen heroes and very seldomly celebrated. So in this peer circle, we want to provide the space for collaboration, inspiration, and to find solutions on some of the challenges we deal with on a day-to-day basis. I was super excited when I first met John through social capital, of course, and he brought this opportunity to me. And it's more than ever needed because day to day we are battling things we never thought we'd battle. We're having challenges and discussions with staff and other stakeholders on things we didn't think we'd have to discuss. So this space is for us to be able to have that open dialogue and shared learning. So I also would like to talk about some of the key highlights from the survey. One thing that I found interesting is that regardless of role, level, or department, we all have the same challenges. Building inclusive environments, retaining top talent, and also training and development with low resources. So this group will definitely be talking about all these topics, and I look forward to seeing you in room 213. Thank you.
And for program, Elena Godinho.
Hi everyone, my name is Elena Gudino. I'm very excited to be here today representing our programs session. We will also be upstairs. I work at Jewish Family Service and as the employment program manager for our refugee resettlement department. I actually first got to know Good for Others almost a year ago. I attended one of their graduation events. I'm the type of person that does workforce development in a very internet savvy of what event is happening, what networking. I have some of my former staff here. There's this, you have nothing on your calendar, go to it. So I encourage you all to do the same. Eventbrite is a great spot for that. So I have gone from being an avid graduation attender, referring my own staff to do their phenomenal training, which I really can speak to the impact. I've seen so much of their confidence grow and so much of their own ability to get resources and increase their critical thinking, even just having that self-confidence of like, no, I can take that on, or hey, actually, I don't really know how to do this, but this is what I figured out so far. Tell me what I'm missing. I really do think that their programs have been so impactful for any staff that are looking to increase their skills, or if you're a local nonprofit looking to connect your staff with upskilling. That's one of my personal passions, and that's what really excited me about taking on this role. Working with Danielle and Cameron has been so incredible, and just really finding ways that we can all work together as program staff, be it from a smaller organization or myself from a larger organization like JFS. There's always ways for you to improve and grow, and also just tap into the resources around you. I'm really excited for y'all to meet one another, and also to find out new things that are coming up or that are new challenges. This is a very interesting time, as all my other leads have presented different challenges that we're experiencing, and programs is so unique in that, HR, we're experiencing different challenges with talent, marketing. How can you market programs that you don't know or may not exist? Development, how is all of our funding impacting everything that we do day to day? So I'm really excited to have this conversation. I also have some stats from our survey to share. I think just to echo what everyone has said is that there's so much opportunity if you can see it in front of you clearly. And I think that's one challenge when you're in programs where you don't know how this next grant might impact if you're going to have a job in a year or not, or if there's just too much capacity that's needed to make these objectives that have been laid out to you from someone who works in a state level that doesn't really understand how that really impacts the day-to-day. So example, I work in workforce. Getting a job is not just I'm doing an application for you. That's, do you have work shoes so you can be successful on the job site, that you're not going to be sent home? Do you have the ability to go to work, be fed before you get to your job, and also get home on time to pick up your kids from school? So all of these pieces that come together, that's what we make our community run. I'm really excited to have these conversations upstairs after we're done. So thank you so much.
All right, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. For you to be able to, before you transition, for you to be able to connect with one another who are in your fields and talk about the issues that you filled out in your surveys and the points of collaboration that you needed. I was told we are gonna start programming with the peer groups to make sure everybody gets upstairs or where they need to go at 4:50. So you have a 10-minute transition. So potty, connect, do your thing, get in your seat, be ready, and the rooms are there. Have fun.